Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, the Trump loyalist who tried to essentially dismantle the post office in a year when there was going to be an influx of mail-in voting, is still clinging to his job. He's still the Postmaster General, and you really need the Board of Governors to vote to oust him. Biden should work on that. But in the meantime, he has put forward a 10-year plan for the post office, which, looks like it would actually harm the way the post office operates, giving the delivery companies that he's invested in a little bit of an edge. When it comes to making a profit. So the sweeping 58-page plan that he titled Delivering for America promises to make the postal service more competitive. Wrong, it's not. And more modern, including a new energy-friendly fleet of delivery vehicles, upgrades to post offices and uniforms, new technology such as mobile devices for letter carriers, and new employee training. Now, there have been previous reports about how there was this initial plan to move its fleet of vehicles to electric cars. But Louis DeJoy, despite what you might read in the CNN piece, actually decided to move in a different direction and work with a third party that would produce vehicles that are not as clean as what the original plan was. So don't buy that framing. He's not actually doing something that would be better than the previous plan in moving to an electric fleet of vehicles for the post office. But there's more of a catch to this. So it also calls for dialing down delivery time expectations, which it notes the system has been unable to meet over the past 8 years. So remember, Louis DeJoy has a vested interest in watching the post office fail because he's literally invested in competitors to the post office. So he's like, yeah, we're gonna get some new uniforms, maybe some new employee training. I'm gonna lie about what I'm gonna do with the fleet of green vehicles. But that one like centerpiece of what the post office is gonna do, yeah, we're gonna screw that up. That's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna call that delivering for America. See, this is how the right wing brands things that they do, right? They'll do horrific things, but they'll brand it as like focus on the family. Focus on the Family is like this right wing organization that was, I don't know if it still exists, but awful, like terrorizing gay people in the country. Like that's what they did. That's what Focus on the Family was. And this name, like this titling, this framing was just really reminds me of that because he's not trying to deliver for America. He's trying to deliver for himself and other shareholders for these other companies that the post office serves as a competitor to.
And the problem, Anna, is again, it's the Democrats. They're in power. And oftentimes they take on all of the worst traits and instincts of Republicans, i.e., suckling at the power teat of the corporate class, right? But they never take on the good stuff, meaning Trump gets elected into office at the CFPB, which is a company, a government agency, which by the way, all they did for their job was take money from banks after they engaged in criminal, illegal behavior and gave it back to citizens. That was the entire point of that government agency. There's no way to paint them as anything but that. So what the Trump administration did was we can't demonize a company that's just giving money to American citizens. We're just gonna destabilize it. We're just gonna make it ineffective. We're gonna empower a guy over there who's gonna tell everybody who works there, put your pens and papers down. We're no longer prosecuting people. We're no longer doing our jobs. That's what we do when we get into power, right? As soon as we get in, if somebody had if Obama ever said hi to your mother, you were fired and you were out of there. Immediately, and everybody understood that. The Dems get in power, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll probably get to getting the postmaster guy. Oh, that guy was no, he was actually pretty good under George Bush. Let's get him in here and let's do it. They never do this on the other side. They're like, no, we're in power now. Get y'all butts out of here. And so it just annoys me, man. Like Biden should have had this dude canned already. I know he can't directly fire the guy himself, but Jesus Christ. And by the way, not even just this guy was a Trump appointee. He actively tried to sabotage your campaign. So just for that alone, you gotta go after him hard. But instead we get, 53-page report about how he's making America male again or something.
Well, okay, so let's talk about the process of getting rid of DeJoy, because I agree with you, it should be a priority because the post office is so important. I mean, think about the service it provides to rural parts of the country that otherwise would not get any type of delivery service because FedEx, UPS, it's too expensive for them to deliver packages there. They actually rely on the post office to finish their deliveries to rural parts of the country. But post office is an incredibly popular government agency. It's relative to other delivery companies, they're far more affordable. Now, in order for Biden to get rid of DeJoy, you're right, he can't do that directly. And what he would need to do is appoint people on the board of governors who then get to make that decision. And so getting rid of DeJoy, as CNN reports, is not a clean-cut process. The president does not have the power to remove the Postmaster General. Only the Postal Service Board of Governors, which is comprised of members nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate, have the power to do so. And DeJoy continues to have the support of the Trump-appointed board. So right now, what Biden is trying to do is fill the vacant seats on the board with supporters of his own agenda. And look, I don't care if they're supporters of his agenda. I just want people who actually understand the importance of protecting the post office, right? So obviously the board of governors right now does not feel that way. They don't have that principle, and that's an issue. So right now, the current board consists of 2 Democrats and 4 Republicans, which leaves 3 seats open for Biden to fill. Let's go, let's fill them right away. Biden now has the power to stack the board with supporters of his agenda and vision for the giant agency. With 3 open seats and another 2 members over their term limit, Democrats are calling on Biden to do just that. So do it and nominate a new slate of board members who could eventually overthrow DeJoy. It would be best if it's sooner rather than later, but it is kind of miraculous that this man who engaged in some of the worst behavior to undermine the 2020 elections still has that position of power in an important and popular government agency.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.